hey, there's only one way. And if you're saved and you've given your life to Jesus, you can show other people the way too. Now, I'm going to get another guy sponsor up here, and I've already chosen who it's going to be. Roy, if you're willing to help me, I want you to come on up here. Now, you're going to be kind of a prop. You're going to hold something for me, all right? So come on up here. Everybody say hi, Mr. Roy. Hi. All right, now, while we do this, I've got to give you a warning real quick. And I'm going to soak some things. And so, Roy, you're going to stand right here next to me for just a second. And I'm going to soak these 3 things. Now, the reason I need to give you a warning is because I'm getting ready to do something with fire. Okay? Now, fire, you guys know it's not a toy. Never play with it. And what I'm getting ready to do, I never, ever, ever want you to try. And I'm talking actually to you men sponsors. That's who I'm talking to there. All right. So, in a moment, I'm going to take these 3 sticks right here. And each of them is going to represent a different person. Now, guys, when you get home, if you are serious about telling other people about Jesus, I'm going to tell you how you can be effective doing that. Okay, Roy, hold out your arms like you're an airplane. All right. Yeah, hold them out like an airplane. Good, good, good. Mary Beth and I were on an airplane. We were coming back from Canada about 6 weeks ago. Now, let's pretend that the pilot came over the intercom and he said, I've got good news and I've got bad news. The bad news is, we're going to lose a wing. The good news is, we get to choose which one. That doesn't matter which one you're going to lose, you're going to crash either way. And your witness is kind of like this. On the one hand, go ahead and put this down. On the one hand, there are the words that you say. And if you're going to go home and you're going to bring people to Jesus, you've got to be willing to talk to them about Jesus. On the other hand, it's the things that you do. In other words, you can't just say it, you've got to live it too. It's got to be real in your life. Now, this is what would happen. Let's say a person goes and they live it, and they're a good person and they follow Jesus, but they never tell anybody why. They're going to look at that person and go, man, I wish I were as good as they are. And they'll never know the reason they are the way they are is because they know Jesus, because they're not telling them. But let's say they tell them, but they don't live it. And so they're over there going, you need to follow Jesus, I follow Jesus, I love Jesus, but they're doing all sorts of wrong things. Are people going to want their Jesus? No, they're going to look at him and go, well, why would I want your Jesus? I'm better than you are. Well, you're no different than I am. So for you to effectively share Jesus, on the one hand, you've got to be willing to tell people. On the other hand, it's got to be real in your life. You've got to live it. You've got to live it, and you've got to speak it. All right, now we're going to take these 3 torches, and these 3 torches represent 3 different people. All right, let me set this aside. Roy, you're going to hold one of them right here. And I want you to, you can put your hands down. You're going to hold that one right there. Now, you may want to hold it a little further away from your face because I'm getting ready to light it on fire. Hold it straight up like this right here. Now, we've got 3 people here. This guy, his name's Bobby. Everybody say, hey, Bobby. Hey, Bobby. Yeah, Bobby. This guy, his name's Tommy. Everybody say, hi, Tommy. Hi, Tommy. And then over here, we've got Sally. Everybody say, hello, Sally. Hello. So we've got Bobby, we've got Tommy, we've got Sally. And right now, the reason Bobby's over there, kind of away from them, is because he went to camp. Bobby went to children's camp, and he heard all about Jesus. Now, Tommy didn't go, Sally didn't go. They stayed home. But if you notice, they're really kind of all the same. Bobby goes to church a lot. He does. But Bobby's never been saved. Bobby's never given his life to Jesus. Can going to church get you to heaven? No. Everybody say, no way! Yeah, we talked about that last night. Now, Tommy's got some bad habits. Tommy's kind of known as a rascal. He's done some wrong things. Sally over here, Sally's so sweet. She's kind. But neither Tommy, who's kind of a rascal, or Sally, neither one of them knows Jesus. And so all 3 of them, look, right now, there's no light. They're all in darkness. Because they've never given their life to Jesus. Even though she's good, and he's not so good, and he goes to church, right now, all 3 of them, none of them would go to heaven. But Bobby goes to camp. And Bobby hears about Jesus, and Bobby realizes, even though he goes to church, even though he's pretty good, he still needs Jesus. And so Bobby does the best thing anyone can ever do, and he prays and he asks Jesus to come into his life and to be his Lord and Savior. Now, he has the light and the life of Jesus. He's been saved. He's going to heaven. And when he gets back from camp, you know what he does? He starts living for Jesus. The things he does, the things he says, and so his light is passed from there to Tommy. Because Tommy sees there's something different about Bobby. I want that too. And Tommy, he prays and he gives his life to Jesus. Now he's going to heaven, and Bobby's going to heaven. Now Sally over here, she's really a good person. But right now she's not saved. But she sees that there's a difference in Tommy's life. He used to be really bad, and now he's doing really good. He's different. What changed? And he uses his mouth to tell her about Jesus. And the truth passes from him to her. And Sally, she prays and she gives her life to Jesus. Now look, none of them were saved. Now all three of them are. But you know, when you're saved, it's not just about going to heaven when you die someday. It's also about knowing Jesus every day. You get to walk with God. And that's not always easy. You see, Tommy, some of his bad habits kind of pulled on him. And some friends that he used to hang out with, they started teasing him. And he decided, you know what? I'm going to go back and I'm going to do some wrong things. And so he started doing things he knew he shouldn't do. And his light, guys, his light was hidden. Because of the things he was doing, when people looked at him, they couldn't see Jesus anymore. Now Sally, she kept living for Jesus. Tommy, he kept living for Jesus, but you know what? Tommy right here, people teased him. And so Tommy decided not to tell anyone anymore. And Tommy stopped talking about Jesus. He stopped talking because he got scared. Bobby stopped talking because he wasn't living it anymore. Their light was hidden, and nobody could see that they knew Jesus. But Sally kept living for Jesus. All of her days, she followed Jesus, shared Jesus, loved Jesus, and then one day, Sally died. But her whole life, she shined for Christ. And when she stood before God in heaven, you know what? There was a whole bunch of people that were there because of how she lived, because of what she said, because she didn't hide her light. She let it shine. And I want you guys and girls to know, you can let the life and the truth of Jesus shine through you. And people that you know at home, your mom or your dad or your cousin or your brother or your best friend who may not know Jesus, they can come to Jesus because of how you live and what you say. I want you to bow your heads and close your eyes.